Yo, hey guys. So I got good news and bad news, but I'm gonna try to show you some progress. So progress so far, I got power draw bar, I got spindle orientation. The spindle is working. My VFD on spindle drive is working. Uh, I got a bunch of little macros and brains done for this machine. Actually, I thought I was gonna do a lot of them different. My inputs and outputs they're pretty much the same, but I thought I was gonna do a lot more. I mean, use a lot more of what I did on the Cincinnati, but I went ahead and just changed all of that and put the same motor, but just different outputs. Just trying to use the same motor on the inputs and outputs, but. Yeah, so gonna go back here to the so I got my BFD hooked up. You guys know that's the cheapest one you can find. That's 11 kilowatts. I believe it's a 15 horse, something like that. 3 something dollars eBay. I got most of the wiring done. Input board, all my inputs coming from or going into the C76. So this is pretty much my here I got my ATC and my C-axis inputs, and I'm talking about power drawbar switch, spindle orientation on or off, power drawbar on or off. Yeah, that's on C-axis, and then I got my 3 inputs from my carousel, meaning homing sensor of the carousel and to the spindle or back in retract position or whatever. I did use, like I said on previous videos, hopefully you can see it, I did use the same connectors from the machine factory, and I just came here. Hopefully this camera will do some justice here. This is my carousel, just like it is described on the machine cabinet, and these are, they used to go to this plate that hold the lubrication pump, but it's actually that lubrication pump I'm gonna have to buy another one. That one is bad, it's all corroded. I try to clean it out, but it just doesn't work. So I went ahead and took that cable out of there, and I'm using that cable for my solenoids, the 4 solenoids that I'm gonna be using here. I got a spindle, no, this is power drawbar, spindle orientation. You there? Okay. Power drawbar, spindle orientation, and that steam deal, that mist deal, whatever. I got it hooked over there, and I'm probably gonna use this one for lubrication, the 4th one. So it just plugged in to the same. I just rewired, use the same wires and rewire all that. The same pressure regulator from the machine, I just mounted over there. I didn't want it that low. Going over there, I can, we can always try. That's power drawbar, that's spindle orientation, and this one, that's a mist. Just click on those little switches over there. Power drawbar, orientation. I haven't used this one yet, but that's probably gonna be my lubrication. I'm gonna use that for my lubrication system. And that's it. Somewhere around here, BFD is almost set up. I don't really like it a lot. Stopping the spindle is kind of slow, even though I'm using the same resistor from the machine. I'm here, same braking resistor. from the factory spindle motor. It's kind of slow. Going up it's really strong, but you know, stopping the spindle kind of takes a little bit. We'll try it now. Those are all good news. Now I'm gonna go to bad news. So bad news. My spindle sucks. Like here. You hear that? It makes a lot of noise. So those bearings are gone. Gone far. So might just sit here so you see how. Hopefully you can see. Working and listen to it too. So I'm gonna do an M3 S500. Really loud. I'm gonna do an S4000. That's A500 again. And now I'm gonna do an M19, the spindle orientation. So M19. There it is. So it's that setup is working pretty good, and it's lined up. I don't know if you can see it anyway. Yeah, you can see it over there. It's pretty. Let me get a light. I'm always out of light. It's an orientation right there. I'm gonna do an M20. I just created that one so I can. That's cancel. Spindle orientation cancel. It actually don't matter where you put it, you know. I'm gonna try it again. M3 S1000. That's it. Works pretty nice. So I'm gonna cancel it again. M20. Hope you hear that solenoid back there. And up here, just one of pretty much the part that I like the most is how simple my Z-axis looks from comparing to Haas setup. Hopefully you can see it. So that's my plate, the one you saw before. You remember I mounted some these pedestals. They were going to be here, and the cylinder was going to be sitting out here. So I just end up building something that I can sit the cylinder back there. Let's see if I get something I can show you. So this right here, that's my cylinder right there. And what it does is just pushes forward, you know, it pushes forward. I got my two sensors here. Let me see if I can do an M19 while you there. And you see what you're gonna see this bolt right here. This bolt right here is with this proximity sensors is showing, you know, it's my orientation is off or it's on, right? So I'm gonna do an orientation now on M19, and hopefully you can see it over there. The cylinder is just gonna push my my plunger forward and do the orientation, and it's gonna send a signal back to Mark 3. So let's do that. M19. There it is. If I do an M20, which is canceled, takes a little bit because I put some grease on it. That grease, but there it is. It's working good. And then my power drawbar, I got my switch here. See? So it's how simple that looks. It's only, you know, a line. I do got some. So this is my power drawbar line, air line coming from down there to solenoid. My lubrication is this hose here to the spindle, which is hooked to this one. It wasn't hooked. So I brought the C-axis lubrication. On Haas factory comes from down there, from the C-axis, goes up. It's got a drag chain, a bunch of stuff. None of that is there right now. So my lubrication comes with my drag chain, only one drag chain, and it comes up here, and it lubricates my C-axis trucks and my spindle, my C-axis bolt screw or whatever, and then my spindle. So I'm probably gonna have to adjust something here, you know, so put some kind of flow control or something, so I can flow less or more to the spindle. I'll work on that later. Those are my inputs and output setup. So it's just you know, a rail over there. You just push in and put your. That's where I got my 4 sensors, my 5 sensors. So one is the switch. One is the switch, and this 2 is orientation, on or off, and my power drawbar off or on. And what else? Well, that's it. I haven't hooked my cooling fan. I still don't know how to hook this fan, so I'm gonna figure that out later. I really don't know if this is a 3-phase or PWM, but I don't know that, so I have to work on that. So I got here, I use the same factory regulator from Haas, and that regulator is controlling the pressure on my orientation. So I'm not pushing all, you know, 120 psi through that cylinder, which it will take 250, but I'm not doing 150 or 120 psi. I got 135 here, but I'm not pushing 135 on it. I don't need that much pressure to do orientation. So I got the regulator where it's probably around 60, 70 psi on that cylinder. So half of whatever I get. I can always adjust it if it's not enough. But other than that, let me get that light again. So that's it, pretty much. C-axis, really simple, nothing on it. I mean, nothing crazy, very simple up there. Empty. And other things I wanted to show you is safety. Let me turn this up higher. And hopefully you get this. This is more important than anything, in my opinion. I'm just gonna try to sit you over there and see. So I'm gonna start the safety from back there. I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm gonna start from back here. So back here, the first safety that you have to create, you do something like this, is there's a constant here, is like power drawbar and spindle orientation, they cannot be on if the spindle is on. So that's a no-no. Power drawbar or spindle orientation, they cannot come on, they cannot work when the VFD drive, you know, the spindle VFD is running. So what you do is you use, oh my god, let me get the damn light. I should have done this when it was daytime. It's cold anyway now. So here on the VFD, this is the cheapest one you can get, but anyway, it will work. So you got your relay terminals here. So what you do is you create two signals coming out of that relay. Two signals coming out of that relay. One is a spindle on and a spindle off. So you will set up on your manual when you want that relay to work. On my setup, the way I'm using it is, I always forget, but the way I'm using it is, I believe it was spindle on. Oh no, okay, spindle ready. That's the way I got it. Yes, I remember now. A spindle ready. So anytime my spindle is ready to run, when it's ready to run, that relay is going to switch on, right? Otherwise it's going to be off, right? So what happened is those two signals, I bring them all the way, you know, all the way up to here. These are these same two wires you see down there. This one and this one. The one that I'm using when it's off, I'm powering all my relays when it's off, and that way, if all my relays, like my power drawbar and spindle orientation, they can only work if my spindle is off. So that's a mechanical safety, if we can put it like that, electromechanical safety. So pretty much, if that relay is not off, none of these relays are going to be on. So it don't matter. I mean, still Mach 3 can send power to it, and this relay is going to come on, but there's no feed to it. So you got to make it electromechanical safety like that, even though, because you can always go to Mach 3, like I'm going to show you in a little bit, and create your brains and your macros and all that with all them safety, picking up those inputs, like on this case. See, you see that other output or signal coming from that relay, this other signal here coming from that relay, which is a red wire, it comes here to my input board. And what happened is I use that input board into all my macros and my brains to make sure I can, even though I got a mechanical safety, even though I still use an input going into the input board, going into Mach 3 saying, you cannot do this or that, or I want you to do it when this is on, or when this is off, you can only do the other thing. So you got to put conditions when this is going to work, and I'll show you in a second. But the electromechanical part, it is important, because even if you will make a mistake, just a simple mistake, like what I'm going to show you now. Let's just say I'm on M3. I hope you're seeing that. Okay, M3 is 500, right? My spindle is running. You know it's running because it's loud. I'm gonna go higher than that, S1000. Alright? And then I just call a spindle orientation, M19. So what happened right there is until my driver, my VFD went off, my orientation didn't work. but it didn't work for two reasons. The main reason is the relay was not powered, but after that, I'll show you the other reason. I'm just gonna cancel M19 with an M20. That you can create all of this. Okay, it told me here, you know, a little macro. It says M19 cancel it. I said okay. So I'm gonna go here to my macros. Guys, this is what I'm doing here. I mean, and I can't stop saying this, but when I first started working on this and didn't have no one to help me until that friend of mine, Thomas from Germany, he helped me, you know, kind of send me, you know, macros and stuff and help me do this and that. You start understanding this language, and it makes sense. So right here, and I hope you can see it. So I get if not is active, OEM trigger 3. OEM trigger 3 is a spindle orientation plunger retracted, so away from the spindle. If it's not active, so that means it have to be active in order to do a spindle clockwise. So the spindle is not gonna come on if we don't have the OEM trigger 3, which is a regular input, OEM trigger 3 on. So that is the sensor that is when my plunger is retracted away from the spindle. So if we do not get this, then we're gonna stop. We're gonna do a do bottom, you know, 1003. A sleep 500. Message orientation is a spindle cannot, you know, the message orientation is on, a spindle cannot turn. And then a message box, so you make sure you know, you say okay to that. And I'm gonna show you all those two messages right now. So no changes to that. I'm gonna do M19 again. M19. It came on, and now I'm gonna do an M3. It's 500. See, I got the orientation, the same message here, which was the first message. The second message is a message box. Orientation is on, a spindle cannot turn. So, and I'm gonna come back there just for you to make sure. So, if my orientation would have been on, I mean, if my spindle would have to come on, either one of my relays, you know, forward or reverse of my spindle drive will be on. See, like right now, the driver is not on forward or reverse, either one of them. And you can just set the same to both of them like I did on this one. So then I just say okay, and I can, you know, and it will not do a forward or a reverse. So like an M4 is 500. Let me show you something else. But see, it works that way, but it doesn't work the other way. Let's just say, like I did before, we do an M3. Right now, I'm sorry, yeah. Right now it's unoriented, so the spindle, I cannot turn the spindle. It's an orientation position. I cannot turn it. So, or mode, or whatever you call it. So I'm gonna cancel that. I'm gonna do an M20. Orientation is off. See, M19, cancel it. That's another little message. Not a big deal. And let's say I do an M3. It's 500. My spindle is gonna come on because my orientation is not on, so I'm not having that input. And as I do M19, hopefully you can hear that relay before the orientation clicks in. M19, then I hit enter. You hear a relay. That relay was the one from the drive going off, and then my orientation comes in. So there's a few things, you know, you gotta M20. Let me go here to the. Let me see how I got my M20 set up. No, my M20. Sorry, my M4. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, the same here. I got it on an M4. If it's not as active, OEM trigger 3, then do the same. So no changes to this. So if we do an M19 with an orientation and we do an M4 S500, it's gonna send this message. It's not gonna turn on the spindle, and we're gonna have this message. So you have to create this because we make a lot of mistakes, and this machine, I have found more than one time that I'm the one mistaken, not Mach 3, or which you can complain about any machine, but the reason why things doesn't happen on factory made machine, or name brand or whatever machine, is because they take care of all this little stuff, and most of the time people complaining about Mach 3s because they don't do those little stuff that would not allow you to make mistakes and crash the machine and break things. So M20. So that way, we hardly gonna have a problem. Just for some reason, let's just say I forgot an M19 and my spindle is oriented, and then I go home for some reason or do something else and come back, and I want to say I want this spindle on M3S 1000. The macro it's not gonna allow me to make that stupid mistake. So if you do this kind of stuff, the same stuff that the other machines are made like, you're gonna enjoy the Mach 3 or whatever program you got when you do a retrofit. If you don't put this little stuff in, then you're gonna go like, why did I crash it? Why did I do that? I wasn't thinking. We are not thinking many times. We are just, our brain is somewhere else, and we're not thinking when we working with a machine like this. Now the other thing I'm gonna be doing, I hope you understood that. The other thing I'm gonna be doing is well, Z-axis is all the way up now, and I believe I got a video on this on the Cincinnati. I got a safety travel for my. In that case, is my spindle arm. I mean my tool arm. In this case, it's gonna be the carousel. So I got a safety travel with a relay. That relay is only gonna let my spindle come in and out if my Z-axis is on that range. Like in this case, it's there. It can come in there, over there, because I'm gonna load, or if I'm going to unload, maybe somewhere over there. I'm not sure yet. I don't know yet. I haven't worked on my carousel. Carousel still just loose. I haven't worked on it. I got to work on my limit switches and my home switches. I'm just still working Mac on soft limits, but so far. But it's only I'm gonna have that kind of safety on it, where my carousel can only activate and go into my spindle when my spindle is there or higher. It cannot be when the spindle is down here or lower than that. So and that's one thing that you got to make sure you put in when you do that. And it's very, very simple. You can create a small brain. I got a video on that machine. It's a small brain that says if Z-axis is higher than this, you turn on this output. That output is going to be the one powering the relay that is going to activate this carousel coming in and out. So as soon as that Z-axis goes lower than that relay is going to go off. No power to it. It don't matter. You can even send it by hand. It's not going to go there. the air is gonna be switched the other way. It will not allow you to make that mistake. Send the carousel when the spindle is not on the right position. So that's it. I definitely got to change that spindle bearings. Like I said, that breaks my heart because they are expensive, crazy expensive. Now, oh, another thing is I end up buying the belt that I end up buying and fit it over there perfect. And when I say perfect is, remember I built that plate, that adapter plate or whatever you call it, which at the same time is my plunger orientation base, housing or whatever. I built that plate where my motor was gonna sit right on the middle where the 6 bolts for the gearbox used to be. So I ordered 2 belts. I ordered one 8mm shorter and another one 60mm shorter. That means 1 teeth shorter and another one 2 teeth shorter. The one that fitted was 2 teeth shorter. Perfect. I'm talking about just dead center of the gear where the gearbox used to be, and that is 56 on the motor and 44 on the spindle teeth. And the belt, remember that the belt is 784 teeth, pretty much, or well, no, sorry, millimeters. That's sorry, yeah, millimeters. It's 784 millimeters. I don't know how many teeth. You divide that by 8, and you know how many teeth. Because the pitch is 8mm. So it's a 784 millimeters length belt, seated perfect on the center, perfect. I'm gonna try to. Yeah, I'm gonna show you the inside of the Z-axis. This get the light. Always leave it somewhere. Yeah, here. Okay, I'm gonna fall into the machine. Okay. Okay. Over there, you can see my cylinder. Oh my God! Wait. Okay, the cylinder that moves is right there. It pushes the plunger forward. My motor to the spindle. Hopefully you can see the bolts. Oh, wait. Bolts that holds the motor right there. Right there. Right on the middle of the gap. But yeah, this spindle is shot. Hear that noise? Now, we're gonna turn it now to 10,000 RPMs. Already did yesterday. It's scary. But we're gonna do that now. We're gonna do that now. Right here. Yeah, so we're gonna do an M3. I'm gonna go straight to 5,000. It's 5,000. 10,000. That's 8. That's 10,000. Hertz. $8,000. That's 1,000. Extremely loud. Loud. M5. I'm gonna do an M3 is 5,000. M5. See how slow it is going down? So I tried doing the settings and all that. I believe that VFD, you know, it's probably garbage, which is garbage anyway. It's cheap, but I can work with that. I don't care, you know, slowing down a little bit. That's going down from, you know, from 5,000. But more than that, I definitely wish, you know, we'll go faster. But okay, guys, so I hope you like it. It's coming together. It's coming together. It's working. You know, everything is coming together. I gotta work on my carousel, but I gotta pull this out. I mean that carousel, you know, this cover and all this, it's all messed up. It's touching everywhere. So I'm probably gonna do some hammering on it and pull that out and do some hammering on it. You know, some body work and kind of straight it up a little bit. It's got some keys that, for the same reason that I told you, even, you know, even on safety stuff. Even factory, if something goes off on it, the carousel, you know, the C-axis will come down. See, in this case, this machine now will never do that. Even if I leave it over there, it's not going to do that because that C-axis motor now has got a brake on it. So even if my counterbalance cylinder, the hose breaks, whatever happens, it don't matter. That brake is going to hold the C-axis from coming down. So that was a really good upgrade, better than Haas for sure. And so I got to work on this. I'm going to pull it out, do some body work on it, kind of, you know, fix it up, paint it, put it back over there, and fix the teeth. They're pretty rough. And then I got to work on those cam followers. I ordered 2 sets. Either one of them that I ordered was the right one. They're 3/4, but both that I ordered, the stud in it is really short. It's only like a 5/8 long or 1/2 inch long, and I need it to be a 7/8 long. And you even go to a Smith or whatever, Macmillan or something like that they build them here in U.S. They say all of them they're 7/8. No, some of them they're even shorter. So anyway, I got the wrong ones. and I'm hoping the right ones, because I talked to somebody online and hopefully they're gonna send me the right ones. So that's it. I gotta work, like I said, on my homing switches and my limit switches. I got one home switch only set up on the, the factory one on C-axis, and that one is gonna stay there. But I'm gonna have two sensors on C-axis telling me when C-axis is on tool change, on loading, or unloaded. I mean loading, yeah, on the low position or the high position. Either way, it's gonna be the same. So, but I'm gonna have two sensors on them two positions, and I'm gonna use those two signals to the macro to make sure, for some reason, let's just say any reason, like my driver goes off and then it doesn't reset or something like that. If my C-axis doesn't go up, my carousel is not gonna try to come out of there. So the whole ATC macro is gonna go off. It's gonna, it's gonna reset. You're gonna have to stop the program or whatever. So I'm gonna use two more sensors going into the input board. They already set up, the wiring is set up. I gotta put the sensor here and hook them to the rail up there to have that going on, to get that done. So hopefully you see no oiling through my C-axis. I found huge, those are the worst mistakes that I found on this machine. And they will probably, like this one, they last for 30, 40 years working, nothing happens, and they always work. But there's maintenance on stuff like that. So if your oiler, your oiling or lubrication line or whatever, goes up and down anytime your C-axis behind there with so many chips that I saw over there, there's no warranty how long that's gonna last. Just like the cables, the wires for the for my X-axis motor, they used to be down here. There's nothing down there now on Y-axis, so we can pile things down there on Y-axis down there, and nothing is gonna break. Nothing is gonna get hurt or nothing. So it can be full of chips now, other than the bolt screw. Nobody's gonna suffer nothing. So putting the cable from the top is a way better idea, better upgrade, and less maintenance. Everything it is about maintenance. And the lubrication too, going straight to the top of the machine, and not not picking up from the bottom and then going up. So it's going to the top. So even if I just loop from, let's just say the little amount of lubrication that I pour into it, it goes to the top of my drag chain. It's gonna keep, if I want to, it's gonna keep lubricating all that little bit of oil during my C-axis is working and my spindle is working. So we can set the timer with the brain and see how long we want that brain to come on, and just deliver a little bit of oil, so that oil will drain down into what we need to. So yeah, way better upgrade. No lubrication on C-axis down there or down here for Y and X-axis. That one is also gonna come from the wall, just like the X-axis cables are coming from. It's gonna come from there into all of that. So little holes that we can just change it whenever we want, without doing no major maintenance on it. Just hook two ends and hook two new ends on it. It should be fine. All right, guys. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you like the build. Just coming together pretty good, and I'll see you on the other one.